The way I rise, the way I fall, I'm even cool if I gotta crawl. I'm owning everything, no fear at all. When the haters come round, I'll be like Teflon. Get on this train or not, get on this train. Going to another state and time. 'Cause I'm pushing on. I'm pushing on.
Procrastination is the thief of time in disguise. So I'ma jump on this rhyme scheme, shine like an Angelou sunrise, and seize the day in the way that can be best described as grateful to be alive. Haters, the worst they can do is hate. And the worst I can do is continue to let that guide my fate. But that's living second rate, and I'm a first rate guy, blessed and highly favored by the Most High. I toast my blessings to the universal Savior and pray that my behavior remains consistent with that of the man who's deserving of the rewards I'm working toward. I'm jerking forward, inertia, when insecurity tries to rob my flow. But I'ma treat that imposter like the devil, and I'ma let them both know that whatever they got in store for me can't touch this. Cause like the breeze through my fingers, I let the trouble slip away. And you'll see, one day I'ma be hotter than July, August, and September. You will remember my name, and like Kobe haters, you might not like me, but you will respect my game. And up until now, I've only been going half-mast. So for those who seem there's more to me than what I've allowed myself to give, no longer have to ask. Because now, I'm living life like it's platinum, and you've got one more time to back the eyelashes at me and play coy. Like you don't enjoy this miles-long funk. And like I'm not ready to make those hips bump.
The way I rise, the way I fall, I'm even cool if I gotta crawl. I'm owning everything, no fear at all. When the haters come round, I'll be like Teflon. Get on this train or not, get on this train. Going to another state and time. 'Cause I'm pushing on. I'm pushing on.
Cool if I gotta crawl. I'm owning everything, no fear at all. But when the haters come around,
I'll be like Teflon. Get on this train or not, get on this train. Going to another state and time.
Yeah.
'Cause I'm pushing on.
Yeah, we pushing on. Now some say I'm deranged. I do like strange things. It's like bared fangs or nipple rings until they sting with the type of pleasure that one might sing 16 measures of bliss in one breath. Each night I sleep, I face death with a grin of gratitude and a chagrined attitude when I'm not living up to my fullest potential. Influential demons keep me deep-seated, mired in these patterns that I repeated but don't represent who I am. Instead, what I'm damned to be. Especially if I keep acting like I don't see my light, and then be my light, then use my light before I lose my life. Sometimes I'm like an 8-year-old kid teetering on this precipice, overlooking this pool of possibilities. Fear and insecurity stopping me in my tracks, holding me back like crabs in a barrel of laughs. So I laugh louder and I laugh longer. I laugh until I reclaim the stronger truth about the man I am and the man I aim to be. I may not know my destiny, but I know it's bound to be great.
You like that song now?
Every day, my goal is to operate from a place that honors and perpetuates my greatness.
Try me again, baby. Send that request. Turn your phone to the side.
To admit that as confident as I seem, I still dream of the day where I won't care what anybody has to say about me, because like the breeze through my fingers, I'll let the negative comments slip away. And you'll see, one day I'm gonna be hotter than July, August, and September. You will remember my name. And like Kanye haters, you might not like me, but you will respect my game. Because I'm coming at you with a straight shot of truth, like the pain of the ghetto youth.
The way I rise, the way I fall, I'm even cool if I gotta crawl. I'm owning everything. When the haters come round, I'll be like Teflon.
Wow.
Hey, we did it, Malcolm. We did it. Yes.
Wow.
Now you upside down, though, Malcolm. There we go. I have Malcolm-Jamal Warner. Guys, can you believe what's going on tonight? How are you doing?
I'm love. How you doing, Latika?
I am doing well. Listen, welcome to Talking Tea with Tika. I am your host, Tika. I am so excited to have you tonight. I am honored. I'm almost speechless. And to say that I am speechless, did you just sip? Did you even notice you supposed? Let me make sure I turn this
I
up.
thought
I don't even know
if
you knew.
I thought this was a Super Bowl moment.
This is listen. Let me pull myself together.
Hey, babe.
Because I have the Emmy-nominated actor, director from the Cosby Show. Listen, Son of Anarchy. You I didn't know you directed what was it? Kenan Kel. You did some stuff on Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Didn't know that. Sesame Street. What? Come on. Now, wait a minute. I have to tell you this. I had a crush on you. Let me tell you when the crush started.
Okay.
I got to get this off my chest because it was the episode when you came out and the towel was wrapped around you. And the first time you were going to shave. I think I saw like one chest hair. And I said, oh my God. So I had to go and get it off my chest before we go any further.
I'll take it. I appreciate it.
I had to go and get it off my chest. I was impressed. My husband was looking at me like, what? Maybe that was years ago. I was like 12. I mean, seriously. So,
Right. So we good, bro. We good. We good.
We good. You said we good. We good. We good. So I had to go and get that off my chest before we even get started. Malcolm, I wanted to first say thank you for your many, many years. A lot of us grew up watching you. You have been a positive role model. When I put this flyer out that I was going to interview you, people started to inbox me about some of the things that yourself, and let me know if this is true or not, that you and your mom have been doing. I guess it's like an Upward Bound type of program for the youth. I don't know if you still do it or not.
That's actually my that's my stepmom. That's my dad's wife.
Okay.
Over at Chicago State.
Do you still do that?
Yeah, she does it, and my sister does it as well.
How important is that for you to be involved with the youth? How important is that for you?
Well, I think, one, it's extremely important because I've always said that the time and energy that we put in our youth is a valuable investment in our future. And I just remember being a young person and having people in my life who just kind of really, in addition to my mom and my dad, of course, but kind of just kind of helped give me some guidance. Especially, if you are fortunate to have, one parent or both parents, fully involved in your life, it's often that young people take that for granted. So sometimes, you kind of need somebody else there who's not a parent, who's telling you the same exact thing your parents telling you, but you receive it differently. So I think it's really important for it's the old saying, it takes a village.
Yes,
it truly does.
Yes.
And now having my own daughter, and as much as we are involved in her life, we also understand the importance of having that village to supplement and complement what we do with her.
Did you, throughout because you started so young in your career, did you have anyone that kind of pulls your coattail every now and then to say, all right, get it together? My
mom was was the main one. Okay. But yeah, I had my first acting teacher, Gary Vinay, had become he was my acting teacher. He was my mentor. He was my very first manager before my mother became a manager. But I'd say really, in terms of pre-Cosby, my mom, my dad, and Gary were like the three who were really, really helped shape me.
Really helped shape. Is that something that you always wanted to do, act?
Interestingly enough, when I was 6 years old, this is before I even thought about an acting class. I was 6 years old, and I proclaimed to my parents that I was either going to be a famous actor, a famous poet, or a famous basketball player.
Really?
crazy. Yeah. Yeah, but that was I made that proclamation, that declaration at about 6 years old.
Well, you've done 2 of them.
Yeah.
So can you play basketball at all?
No. Yeah.
We'll go to the next question.
We took that one off the list.
Now, let's talk a little bit about the acting career. Now, when I did my research on you, we're thinking we hadn't seen you really since Malcolm and Eddie. But that's not true. You've been doing some things on Broadway, Sons of Anarchy, things like that. What have you done to make sure you stay relevant, to stay working? Like, what do you do to make sure your chops are right? How do you keep yourself busy? What are some things that you've done to make sure you do that?
Sure. Well, I mean, theater is always has always been a big part of my development. Even before Cosby, I was doing a lot of theater, and since Cosby, every few years, I'm doing theater. But it's funny because people are always like, now I'm doing The Resident. People are like, yo, it's great to see you back on TV, and I'm like, wow, this is actually my 10th television show.
Wow.
Yeah, like so when people say we haven't seen you since Malcolm and Eddie, I'm like, no, I had a series on Showtime called Jeremiah. I had a show on CBS called Listen Up. I was recurring on Major Crimes for years, Magic School Bus. Like, I had a lot of stuff going on. They may not have necessarily had the notoriety or the success of Cosby or Malcolm and Eddie, but I've always been working nonstop. I was directing when I started Cosby, or rather, I started directing on Cosby. So by the time Cosby was over, I had directed about 6 episodes. I was directing Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. I've been directing Sesame Street, a bunch of stuff for Nickelodeon. And a lot of that came from when Cosby first hit. I was 14. And, it was this huge, phenomenon straight out the box. And my mother sat me down at 14 and she said, listen, baby, it's great that this show is doing well, but this show, how this business is. This show could be over next year. She said, I can type. I can always get a job. What are you going to do when the show is over? So she had always impressed upon me from the very beginning about, life after Cosby. And she, also made it clear to me that if longevity is what I wanted in this business, I could just take a look at anyone who's had longevity, and you will see that they have had dry spells. This business is cyclical. So you're going to go, like life, you're going to go through peaks, you're going to go through valleys, you're going to go through times when you're hot. You're going to go through times when you're not, So my focus was always, I just want to keep working consistently. And I remember when I was like 15, 16 years old, and I would do interviews, and people would be like, what's it like being successful? What's it like being a success? And even at 15, 16 years old, I would say to people, this show is successful does not mean I'm successful. Because if after this show I can't work again, having been on a #1 show for 8 years means nothing. I say it won't be until I'm 40, 50, 60 years old can look back on a career and have worked consistently, and at 40, 50, 60 years old, still working consistently, only then will I be able to go back and say, you know what, I've had a successful career. And the mistake that a lot of people make, they get on a hot show, they have a hot movie out, they got a hot song out, and they all of a sudden get this perspective, oh, I've made it. But what I tell people all the time is, quote, making it is only half the battle. It's sustaining that. And people don't think about, where do I want to be 10, 20, 30 years from now?
How do you, and I want to make this statement to you, you have some music or something playing in the background? Turn it down just a little bit because Facebook will get us. Facebook is something special. Thank you, Mark.
Alexa, stop.
Oh.
Only because of my daughter.
Mine is Jackie. Jackie, stop. No, that's.
Okay.
So when you've made it, it's Alexa. I'm kidding.
Oh, wow,
Listen.
I can't hear you now.
Listen,
I can't hear you now.
What?
What
Turn
happened?
Alexa back on. Alexa, come back on. You can't hear me.
This is in-call volume.
Uh-oh. His phone was... Oh, your phone was probably connected to it.
I can read your lips. What happened?
Turn Alexa back. Jackie, help Alexa. Turn it back on. Yeah, probably his phone's probably connected to Alexa.
Turn Alexa back on.
Right, turn.
Wow. If Alexa has something to do, can you hear me?
Yes.
My phone. That's a problem.
It's probably connected to it.
I don't even know how to turn. Whoa.
Right. Ooh.
Jeffrey's like, turn Alexa back on. Everybody's saying turn Alexa back on. Really?
Don't touch anything. You mentioned some things when you were saying that your mom kind
Alexa,
of early on.
play Itsy Bitsy Spider by Go Fish.
Okay, let me let you finish.
Itsy Bitsy Spider by Go Fish on Amazon Music.
You know what? I'm just going to do this right here.
Bluetooth. Nicole Wilburn says Bluetooth. My Bluetooth is on. Alexa, stop.
If this is not the funniest thing I think I've seen all day.
Can you hear me now? No?
Yes, I can hear you.
Are you hearing me? I can hear you. Yeah. Okay, I turn my Bluetooth off.
You guys make sure you go ahead and share this live. While we figure out Alexa.
That's so weird. Alexa tripping. I know, Jeffrey.
Who is Jeffrey? Jeff Clark. Oh!
So either we should reconnect, or you should write your questions down on a piece of paper and hold them up. Yeah, that's so weird. I don't know what happened.
That is too funny. But we can hear you just fine. I love it. It's funny.
So should we try to reconnect?
No.
No, she said no.
No,
Okay.
don't you touch anything. If
See.
you can hear me, we can hear you.
You hear me, but I can't hear you.
How are you answering me then?
I don't know. Hey, Yolanda. Yeah, it says my volume is all the way up. My media volume is all the way up. My system volume is all the way up.
Malcolm. Okay, no, maybe he can't. He was answering me like dead on though. That's funny. That is hilarious. Hi guys, welcome to the show. Just reconnect to Alexa. Just say.
That's so weird. So something must have happened with the Alexa situation.
Yeah.
The phone was connected to Alexa. The phone couldn't have been connected to Alexa. My phone has never been connected to Alexa. Joy.
Alexa's doing her thing. I know. I love it. We can hear him, but he can't hear us.
You sipping strong.
That is hilarious. What was funny, he was answering me right on dead spot though. And then he answered me when I asked him, how can you hear me? I don't know.
So I don't know if we should try to reconnect.
No.
No, okay.
No, I'm scared.
But if I'm scared, I know.
No.
But if you ask me questions, I won't be able to really answer.
Oh, okay. So they want me to disconnect. I can't even talk. They want me to disconnect you and then re-invite you.
Let me see if I plug in earbuds, see if that helps.
Okay, so what we'll do? Okay, he's gonna try to connect his earbud. You know what? We could be connected to his earbud. I can connect. Okay, well we can do that. Well, while he's doing that,
Hello?
I'll promote some stuff. Hey guys, we have the book club coming up next Thursday. the Steppers' first ever book club. That'll be next Thursday at 7:30. Don't forget about that. Can you hear me? Hello? No, you can't hear me yet. So maybe I should hang up and like reconnect with him. No, because he can't hear me.
That didn't help.
No, that didn't help. So text him, let him know that we're going to disconnect him, and then we'll add him back on. So I'll disconnect you, and then we'll reconnect him. Okay? Yeah, because he can't hear me. So we're gonna disconnect from him. So you guys stay tuned. Hold on. What? He got it? Can you hear me? No.
I hear you now.
Oh!
Wow.
I was about to hit the X and disconnect you. You can hear me?
Okay, I hear you now. Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, so let's get back into this thing now. Let me try to remember where we were.
Right.
All right. So we were talking about when your mom would kind of give you advice really, really early. When you were early in your career, you were 14, 15 years old, and the show was already successful, and she was already kind of giving you advice that you would give someone that was grown. I mean, you were still a kid, but she was letting you know to already look at your future. Saying that you could have failures. You know, you don't know how far this is going to go. What are you going to do next?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure you had failures after that show was done. What are you going to do next? I think there was a little brief period of time before Malcolm and Eddie started. Yeah, right? There was a brief period of time. Did you deal with the door being slammed in your face, the whole transition from being a kid to an adult? I'm sure that was a problem or a situation. How did that feel, and how did you continue to be positive in your craft?
Well, that's why I started directing, as early as I did, because I knew that the transition from being seen as, child actor to being taken seriously as an adult actor would not necessarily be a smooth one. So, my mother had always talked about having a plan B. Having something to fall back on. So the directing was really the thing that kept me working in between that first dry spell. So it was during that time, right after Cosby, literally the season after Cosby went off the air, I had a show on NBC called Here and Now that lasted for half a season. So that was like, first big failure, number one.
Right.
But still, during that time, that's when I was, directing All That and Kenan and Kel and Sesame Street. That was the thing that kept me working while I was still taking acting classes. I was still auditioning. So, I mean, the Here and Now, I think, would really be, the only failure, if you will. I mean, I had other shows that didn't necessarily. I had a show with Jason Alexander from Seinfeld. We had a show called Listen Up on CBS. That only lasted a season, but it was still, it was still a great show, and I was still working. And one of the reasons why I think I had not worked as much as I thought I deserved to was because I was saying no to more things than I was saying yes to, because everything that the show stood for. For me, I felt like I couldn't go from that and just do some regular, stereotypical show Black people in a stereotypical light kind of deal.
Right.
So, I said no to a lot. So between saying no to a lot of things and then going on auditions that I did not get, I had periods of unemployment. A little longer periods than I would have liked for, but it was something that I already knew while I was on Cosby was going to be part of the journey. That's one of the things that my mother had prepared me for.
Did you ever assume, because you were successful coming off of this successful show, that you will automatically get certain roles?
No, see, and that's the whole point. That's the whole point of me talking about what my mother had said to me. It was like, what are you going to do when the show's over? Because nothing is guaranteed. So there was never that, just because I would come off Cosby, I was going to be guaranteed a career. That's why I was directing. That's why I was doing those things because I knew that there was going to be, I knew that there was going to be a lull. And I knew that if I was going to be in this business for a lifetime, there were going to be a few lulls. So there was never the taking for granted that I was always going to work. I mean, I think now at 48 years old, I'm just now clear that I'm always going to work. Like up until very recently, there was always this maniacal obsession with, life after Cosby, life after Cosby, life after Cosby. And now, 30 something years after Cosby, I'm still working. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
I don't have to have that worry anymore. Doesn't mean I have to stop hustling. Don't mean
Yeah.
that I can still take work for granted. It just means that I could at least rest at night without the concern of, am I ever going to get work again?
What advice would you give people that want to get into acting and
Don't.
they
No one ever listens to that part, so go ahead. Finish your question.
what?
No one ever listens to that part.
Right. They want to get into acting and they may feel that they have maybe reached their age, that they may be in their 30s, 35, 40, and it hasn't happened for them yet. What would you say to them? Would you say, stop? Realistically, what advice would you give them?
Well, I think specific to the question about age, I say look on TV, look at movies. There are characters of all ages. So it's never about an age thing. I think more importantly, the question really would be, why do you want to get into this business? Why do you want to become an actor? Most people want to become actors because they want to be rich and famous.
Yeah.
The life of an actor from the outside looks glamorous. The life of a celebrity from the outside looks glamorous. One of our jobs really is to make what we do look effortless. You know, so for me, hearing, "Oh, I can do that," for me, it's a backhanded compliment because if you just look at it and you think it's that easy, then that means I'm doing my job. So a lot of people, you know, don't necessarily want to become actors because they have a passion for the craft. Because if you have a passion for the craft and that's the thing that moves you, then you can go do theater. You can be working a 9 to 5 and you can be going to do theater and still be fulfilled. But it's when people, they want to, be on TV and they want to be in the movies, and that's what the attraction is.
Yeah.
And that's when I'm like, no, you're in it for the wrong reason.
Mm.
And then I also tell people who, who even after all that, and they still, have this drive, they want to be in the business. And I say, at some point, you're going to come at a crossroads where you have to ask yourself, if I never blow up, if I never become rich, never become famous, do I still have a passion and love for the craft?
Mm.
And if the answer is no, then that's the time to go do something else.
Yeah.
If the answer is yes, then you know your answer.
That's good.
It's real,
That's
man. It's real.
yeah. That's good stuff. Let's go to the spoken word, Malcolm, because you seem to be so docile and so signal mixing.
Well, let me stop you. Let me stop you real quick.
Yeah, stop. Yeah.
Since I appear so docile,
Yeah, because
in your introduction, you called me an Emmy-nominated actor, but you failed to mention that I'm a Grammy award-winning spoken word artist.
Get me right. Get me together. You get me together is what you do. You get me together.
You forgot that part.
I would ask you to go get it. Is it within reach?
It's not within reach.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm in Atlanta. But yeah, and so in 2015, I won a Grammy with Robert Glasper and Layla Hathaway for Jesus Children. It's on Robert Glasper's Black Radio 2. and he does an arrangement of Stevie Wonder's "Jesus Children of America." Layla sings, and then I do a spoken word piece in tribute to the kids from Sandy Hook Elementary. And
Wow.
in 2015, we won a Grammy for that.
Congrats. Oh. Wait. Congratulations. That's what I'm talking about. Congratulations.
Thank you.
For you.
Thank you.
Oh my God. Now, Melted Press is the one that made this possible. Joy. She's over here blushing. She just did this. And I want to tell her thank you. I want to publicly say thank you for making this happen.
Oh,
and I wanted her to ask you to do me a piece. She did not get an opportunity to ask you to do that. So if you're prepared to do one, we'll do one. But if not, don't worry about it. But I want to ask you about the spoken word. Signal mixing is one that I heard, and I said, oh, I had to go back and go, like, what did he just say? What? Are you able to do that one? Or do they just need to get the album?
Oh yeah, they should get the album.
They should just get the album. Listen.
Yeah.
It's on Selfless, right?
It's on Selfless. Yeah.
Y'all need to get that one. How are you able to be tastefully disrespectful?
I know. It's crazy. There's
oh my God! Look what's going.
Yeah.
How do you manage to make so? It's a fine line.
Yeah.
Like, what does your family members say?
Oh my God! You see, at my shows, my mom is like the loudest one screaming. She's the loudest one.
No way!
Oh. My mom would be like, "Hey, no, do that piece in a heartbeat."
No way!
Yeah. So I think in terms of writing that fine line, it's kind of, just here's the thing. When growing in my growing up and my teen years, like I grew up on the #1 television show in the world. I was a teenager on the #1 television show in the entire world.
Yes.
And I was living in New York. And, I knew when I was walking through the world that I was not just representing my mother and my father. I was representing, the show. There was just so much riding on that. And even with that, I still managed to do everything that I needed to do. Respectfully, but because again, life after Cosby and dignity and integrity, I don't feel like I've ever missed a beat. So, the way I walk through life, the way I write, there's a way to do and say everything that I need to do and say, and keep it respectful.
Right. Do you ever find in your writings that you hold back in fear of going too deep into your private and personal life? Because we don't hear anything about your private life. You keep it very underground. That's great.
Yeah.
Do you find yourself going too deep and you're like, ooh, no, I don't want to say that?
I think so. There are those pieces, but those are the pieces that stay in my journal.
Okay.
Those are the pieces that are solely for me. But everything that I write in general starts out for me.
Okay.
But then there's there's a point of there's one thing about being a writer, and one thing that every good writer knows is, and it's really weird, the more specific your writing is, the more universal it is. The more specific, the more people can relate to it. So everything that I write, for me is a form of therapy. One of the reasons why I love Eminem, the art form, everything is a form of therapy. And I would really say 98% of what I write, 92% of what I write, I share, because it's therapeutic for me. And, there's also the, if someone else can, look at me and get a glimpse of what I'm going through, and it may touch upon something that they're going through, that's only going to help. And again, not that I write to help other people, but it's the byproduct of sharing a piece of myself.
Yeah. And it does. It helps. It helps.
Sure.
When people see people like yourself, especially being a Black man, now, and you're being so positive. And I'm sure you have your stuff. We all have our stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But you've been able to stay in such a positive light for all these years. And I want to commend you for that. I know. Don't let your stuff out, Malcolm. You've been doing good. You're doing real good now. All right. And we're almost about to wrap this up. Your playlist. Your top 3 hip hop songs. What's in it?
Liberation by Outkast.
Ooh. Okay. All right, Roxanne. Okay.
Yeah, that's ooh.
Okay, that's one.
Yeah, right now, I Believe by T.I.
Okay. You represent brother A. I'm feeling you.
Yeah,
Really.
I just got turned on to that T.I. joint this year,
Okay.
and
Okay.
it blew my mind. It actually kind
Okay.
of it gave me an expanded perspective on T.I. So I don't sleep on him like I used to.
The fact that you said an expanded perspective, that just lets me know that he's like from a. Just go ahead. It's just he's just different. He's just different. Go ahead. Give me one more.
Oh.
Give me something old. You know, listen to no old hip hop.
But it's
Come
so
on.
it's so many. How Many Mics? The Fugees.
Oh, thank God. I was starting to feel some kind of way. I was like, no.
Yeah. And that's actually, and I know you said 3, but that joint that goes neck and neck with the Flavor in Your Ear remix.
Oh, I like it.
Yeah. But I mean,
One more question.
picking 3 is so hard to just pick 3.
It is hard. I think my top 3, I've got like 15 in rotation constantly.
Exactly.
I have got to ask you this, and I'm gonna let you go. I promise you, we gotta go. I'm like the Baptist preacher, and I promise you, let you go. Dr. Austin, how did you get so arrogant? Because you're not arrogant at all on this interview right now, but for some reason, you've managed to be very arrogant on this show. Yeah. When you said the other day, you said, "What's wrong with Jersey?" That was the funniest line all night. What's wrong with Jersey?
Right. And it's funny because actually I took offense to that line. So what I really was like, first I was like, yo, I was born in Jersey.
Right.
And then the writer came to me and was like, no, Austin is born in Atlanta. Cool. Because they give me so one first to answer your question, the beautiful thing to me about playing AJ Austin is I get to play the guy that I don't get I get to play the guy that I don't allow myself to be.
Good answer.
Yeah. So I get to have a lot of fun.
You can get it off your chest.
A lot of fun. Yeah. And they give me good leeway. Like, a lot of my ad libs, they keep. And funny because now speaking of the Flavor in Your Ear remix, there was an episode we did last season, and we're in the OR, and we're operating on Dr. Okafor's lover. And there's something in the operation I'm asking her to do, and she won't do it. And basically, I'm like, why are you here? You shouldn't be here if you can't do your job. And she gives me this look. I'm forgetting I've made that whole build up. Now I'm forgetting the line.
Okay, last season. Don't worry about it. Ad lib.
Oh yeah,
Ad lib. We'll go
yeah,
with you.
yeah. So she gives me this look, and I'm like, don't be mad. UPS is hiring.
Oh no!
Speaking of that song,
Oh my God! I love it! I love it! I love it! Oh my God!
so they give
Oh
me
my
they,
God!
they, they give me a lot of leeway to to
To
just fly.
express your, I bet you feel so much better when you go upstate. You're like, I really would want to say that to somebody, but I can't
Yeah,
because I have to do this.
yeah,
I have to be this way. I can't
yeah.
be that way. So thank you, Fox.
But
All right.
I keep telling people that if over the next couple of years I start being that way, we'll blame it on Dr. Austin, and I'll be okay with it.
Listen, if you need to come back on the live to make sure we say it, we'll do it again. It's no problem.
Okay.
We'll get it to the folks. It's not a problem since we're friends now. How
No
about that?
doubt.
All right. Where can people find your music?
MalcolmJamalWarner.com,
Okay.
Spotify, Apple Music, really all of the digital streaming platforms. All three of my records are on there.
All right.
Yeah.
What are your social? I'm sorry. What are your
Yeah.
social media handles and all that good
Sure.
stuff? Where they can follow
Facebook,
you?
it's Malcolm Jamal Warner. Twitter and Instagram, it's Malcolm Jamal War, because that's all that would fit. um, and yeah, those are really my three the three platforms that I use. I'm not on
Okay.
Snapchat or Kick or any of those other.
What did you call it? Snapchat?
I meant Snapchat. That's how much I'm not on it.
Right. That's just how much.
Yeah.
Okay. When are you going to perform again live? We want to make sure we're there. So we got to make sure.
You know what? We had a really dope show planned last weekend. Joyce
Yeah.
Littell's Passion and Poetry at Center Stage,
Yeah.
and ended up having to cancel the show because of lack of ticket sales, because the A3C or AC3 Hip Hop Festival was going on the same
Yeah.
weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Ronnie, Bobby, Ricky, Mike were going on that weekend.
Yeah.
So they ended up canceling the show, and I could not get tickets to Ronnie, Bobby, Ricky, and Mike. I
You
was
couldn't
like,
even go?
well, hey,
Alexa,
I was
get
like,
a ticket. I mean, Jackie.
I was like, look, if I'm not performing, can I go to the show? If that show is one of the
Right.
reasons why I'm not performing, then I want to go to that show. Um, so I'm not sure. I'm not sure when I'll be performing again. Of course,
Okay.
I'm in Atlanta shooting The Resident, so that that
Okay.
and my daughter are my priorities.
Oh, it's
I
beautiful.
will, I'm gonna find some. I'm gonna sneak into some open mics at Apache, here and there when I can. Actually, I was just at Apache a couple of weeks ago. I went to go see.
Can you please let us know?
Yeah, when I actually put together a show and do like a feature, I will
Okay,
definitely let you know.
please.
Joy is my dog. Like whenever I'm doing something, Joy is always representing, always supporting. I did a show a couple of years ago. It's been a lot of years now. I did a show because I was coming to Atlanta for something, and I was like, while I'm there, I'm gonna do a show because whenever I play Atlanta or the South, the band that I use is here, based in Atlanta. The cast from Jukebox. Shout out to Jukebox, Landon Anderson. Um, so I was like, okay, I'm coming for this event. I'm gonna do a show, and I literally had like it might have been a week. I don't know if you remember Joy, but I might have had like a week and a half, and I only posted it on like Twitter and Facebook. And
Uh-huh.
Joy helped get the word out. And like in the matter of, like I said, a week, we had a really nice house. So Joy's just always given love and always supported
Joy.
from Joy. Do we know each other from MySpace days? Like,
Oh
Yes.
God, did you just
yeah,
date her?
yeah.
You just dated her
That's
like 50 years.
yo. That's how. That's how long. That's how long I've been rocking with Joy.
Well, I want to be cool with you too, so inbox me your number.
You got it.
Listen, I want to invite you to the Heritage Ball. I don't know if she's told you about stepping and all that stuff, but I would love to have you on my VIP list for the Heritage Ball that's in February. So if you want to come and be a part of that,
Okay.
I'll have you on my VIP list for Saturday night, the main event. Let you see what stepping is about.
Hopefully, I can get a few
How about
stepping
that?
lessons in before then.
Yes, we'll get you some stepping lesson in, and then you come in on that Saturday night and be a part of that, and we'll make a big old deal about you, and maybe you can do a spoken word piece at the Heritage Ball.
Oh, word. Word. Okay.
That
Thank you.
would be nice. I think we have some Heritage Ball people on the live, and we'll see if we can make that happen. That would
Okay.
be.
That sounds dope. Thank you for the invite.
How about that? I'm just
Yeah.
making all kind of plans, not even my event. You see me? Let me sip on that. One moment. You sip too, Malcolm? Malcolm sip too. How about that? I'm playing up other people's budgets. Look. This has been awesome.
It has been.
This has been absolutely amazing.
Thank you, Tika.
Thank you so much.
You got it. Thank you. This was fun. I've never done the Facebook Live thing, so this is dope. Thank you for the first experience.
Oh my God. Thank you so much. I want you to enjoy your evening. I know you had to work today, so I know you're tired.
Yes.
Yeah, I know. So thank you so very much. God bless you. I pray that everything that you touch will be blessed.
Thank you.
Blessed me. Thank you so much.
You got it.
Mwah, 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 mwah.
You take care.
Thank you.
All right.
Good night.
Good night.
Bye.